All right, here we go. Salute to NBA Nation on this Friday morning here on the East Coast. CP the franchise in the building. Special guest today. He covers New York sports for a New York Post podcast. It's in particular New York Got Game podcast, where he does a great job covering the New York Knicks. But also, man, we're going to talk NBA news, the latest news this week. And that is my guy, Dexter Henry, back in the building. On today's show, Nico Harrison out of here. We're going to talk about the Mavs firing Nico. Was Nico the fall guy? And where the Mavericks go next. Plus, the NBA making changes once again to the All-Star game, carving it up again. New format. We're going to react to that. The Knicks get somewhat of good news on the Jaylen Brunson front. Jaylen Brunson with the grade 1 ankle sprain. We'll talk about where the Knicks go from here. And OKC stays hot, man. The OKC Thunder, it looks like they're even better on their championship defense. That and the chef leaving Under Armour, man. We got to talk about that as well, man. So lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Dex, morning, man. How you feeling, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. You're right. A lot of things are going on in the NBA. It's a lot. I feel like it's been a crazy week with all the stuff you just mentioned. This is why we got to catch everybody up on everything.
This is why we got to catch up. And let's start with the first thing of the week, and that was Nico Harrison. Nico Harrison finally getting his walking papers. Seemed like they put him out of his misery because Mavericks fans wanted his head on a pike. From the Luka trade on through, they come into the season, hey, Cooper Flag, welcome. Oh, no Kyrie. Oh, what do you know? No surprise, no AD. And they look like a lottery team. And Nico gets his walking papers, man. What'd you think when you heard the news?
I was like, why'd y'all wait till now? that was my reaction to it, CP. Like, everybody knew this trade was a bad trade. With the Luka Doncic trade. It's one of those things you will never forget where you were. You will never forget when you heard it. You will never forget how stunned you were. Everybody knew the trade was bad. I think my one issue with it is timing, one, and then two is we cannot let ownership slide on this. Y'all had to sign off on this. And I think Patrick Dumont and company, they are getting a major pass. I understand the fans wanted Nico gone. I get all that. They were out for blood. Now they have it. But you still got to deal with this ownership. They signed off on this. And then, what's the plan? Right? Like, are you going to really build this team around Cooper Flag? Are you trading AD and Kyrie? I feel like they should have done that in the summer.
Yeah.
We knew this was a wrap for this team. I get the ire towards Nico. I'm not saying he did himself any favors. However, someone's got to sign off on this. And ownership is never going to fire themselves. I understand all that. But I just think there should be more heat coming the way of the Dumont family and everything they've done, because they've done their fans a disservice. They had a top 3, I'll say, player in the league who is looking amazing right now with the Lakers. And okay, you guys start off the season 3-8, and now you decide to make this move. Okay, now what?
Yeah, I thought he was fired the minute he made the trade because that day when that press conference he made the trade, he basically said, "I probably won't be here to see this through," and so he knew he had sealed his fate and pretty much put the last shovel of dirt on his own grave, because to make a trade like that was just ridiculous. Listen, this was nothing more than Nico Harrison's ego getting in the way here and destroying him. And listen, you're a man, Dex, I'm a man. We know ego is the downfall of man, period. Every time through history. And this was no different. If you read Tim McMahon's book, Wonder Boy on Luka Doncic, you saw the splintering. 2 different factions being built here. The star player, like all star players do, they're going to have their team of people, whether it's medical, whether it's the assistant, the entourage, this or that. It's the baggage of managing a relationship with a star player, something that Nico Harrison, of all people, should not have been a stranger to. He's the same one. He puts the Mamba on a pedestal, as he should. Rest in peace to the late, great Kobe. But Nico Harrison, as a Nike executive, all the relationships, all the players, Kmart was on the show. Nico. He's the guy in the industry. right? And so he should understand the baggage that comes with it. But for some reason, he decided to say, okay, you know what? This guy's going to do it my way, or we're going to move forward. And that is what, there was no incident that was more indicative of this than when what we all laughed at was when Michael Finley snatched the beer out of Luka's hands. That was a control thing. That was a power play. And it ultimately led to them making a ridiculous trade that was literally malpractice, bro.
I love what you said. I love everything you just said there. You were so right about ego. I mean, ego, you talk about being the downfall of man. I mean, and I always like to try to bring things back to, as you said, to everybody. This is not just exclusive to sports. This is in anything you do personally, right? Like if you have too much ego, you do not see the bigger picture of the people around you, how you're trying to work with things, this can hurt you. Absolutely, for sure. Even in what we do, CP, this can hurt you for sure. I think this was absolutely ego driven. I understand everyone can have their philosophies. GMs have their philosophies, coaches have their philosophies, content creators, journalists, everybody can have their philosophies, but we do have to work together with people and figure out things, how to get things done. So sometimes you got to let that ego go. You might want things your way. I would question now, one of the biggest things that came out after Luka got traded was, hey, they didn't like the fact that he wasn't in shape and all this stuff. Right. And Luka did need to get in better shape. Yeah. And he did need to get better on the defensive end. And I do think those criticisms were fair. However, how come he was able to get in shape now with the Lakers and you guys weren't able to do it? And hey, here's the thing. Out of shape Luka took you guys to the NBA finals. You couldn't say, hey, if we could get this guy in shape, like how is that not a reflection on you in some way? Right? Like, how is not a reflection on you? I would like to add this too, CP. The whole thing that went down this week with Patrick Dumont and talking to the kid at the game, and then, the firing comes out after where Patrick Dumont admits that they made a mistake. I'm sorry. That felt like some nonsense PR.
Nonsense. Nonsense.
Like, I just see through that. Like, it felt staged. It just doesn't feel right. It was like, oh, let me say this happened. I had this moment with a fan, and now we're going to fire Nico. And I get it. You asked the question whether he's the fall guy or not. Absolutely. I understand you. I am not absolving Nico. I am not saying he's without blame. It is a dumb trade. Okay? Ridiculous. Stevie Wonder could see this trade was bad. But we can't let ownership skate on this. We just can't. We can't let them skate on this because it's a bad job by them too. They have ego involved in this too. You traded away a generational talent. And if you're a Mavericks fan, why do you trust that this organization is going to do right by you as the fans? Why would you trust it at all? Don't tell me because Nico's gone. Don't give me that, because the ownership's still the same and they signed off on this. So I don't know who you trust right now if you're a Mavs fan.
This was Sir Charles Barkley when the news came out. This was on Inside the NBA Now on ESPN. This is what Sir Charles had to say about the situation.
Because the Mavs were a mediocre team until he made those trades. He was doing a good job. Then he had the bad luck with Anthony Davis never being available, basically. But the thing that bothers me is he's just being made a scapegoat. Listen, Shaq knows this, Kenny knows this. There's no way in the world Nico Harrison had the power to trade Luka Doncic unless the owner of the team signed
Patrick Dumont.
Yes. That was his call. So I feel bad the way Nico is being made a scapegoat. But anybody who knows anything about basketball know good and well Nico Harrison did not have enough power to trade Luka Doncic. So that's the thing that bothers me. He's had a streak of bad luck with Anthony Davis and Kyrie both getting hurt. But the premise of this trade is Nico Harrison. I hear all these fools and idiots on TV talk, Nico Harrison going to be the guy who traded Luka Doncic. No, the Dallas Maverick organization made that call.
Here's the thing. Two things can be true. Two separate things can be true what Chuck is talking about here. Sure, in some respects, did he do a good job in helping build the team that made it to the NBA Finals? Absolutely. On the flip side, GMs don't bat 1,000. And you can look to the smaller moves that led to the ultimate Luka trade, fumbling the Jaylen Brunson process. You let Quentin Grimes walk out of the door. Derek Jones to a lesser extent. Like, Yeah, GMs have make good moves, but then they also make bad moves. Ultimately, the Luka one, and Charles is saying, oh, well, he had bad luck with Anthony Davis. He should have never traded for Anthony Davis. Everybody would have known he was going to get hurt, Dex. Like, oh, it wasn't bad luck. It was foolishness. To trade your 25-year-old star. This is the thing. If you're going to make the case that, all right, he's not going to be worth the bag, I'm going to go to Dumont, and Dumont and Adelson say, hey, you know what? Before we dip into the second apron and invest in this guy, make sure he's our guy. And if you don't have the conviction that he's your guy, fine, but get the best return possible for that guy. That is where Nico is responsible, because you went to Rob Pelinka and Rob Pelinka alone because you're buddies and made the deal that was straight up malpractice. You couldn't even get 2 first-round picks that the Lakers were coveting from Rob Pelinka. You got an injury-prone AD who's in street clothes, no surprise, and now every night, the Mavs season ticket holders got to watch a lottery team run up and down because the return for their franchise player, generational talent, was not adequate.
So, a couple things. So here's where I agree with everything you said, too. The part I agree with Chuck on is absolutely this is on Mavs ownership, and so we're on the same page. It is skating off. But where you're 100% right is, okay, let's say ownership signed off on this, or they're the ones responsible. They wanted you to trade Luka. Let's say that. Let's put this out there. That the Dumont family was like, hey, Luka doesn't work for us. We don't know if he's a guy. We don't want to invest in him. Whatever. I feel like you got to figure out a way to make that work. That's on y'all. But let's say that's the case. You hit the nail on the head. If you're Nico Harrison and you were then tasked with having to move this guy, you're going to go talk to one person, right?
Right.
Like that's like CP, if me and you were looking for a studio to do something. We're just gonna be like, man, we're just gonna talk to this one studio. We're not gonna shop around and look at what the best deal is, what the best thing that works for us or something. We would be like, that's bad business. We would say that's bad business. That's the malpractice by Nico Harrison. You just went to your homie and was like, hey, this is what we're gonna do and have a deal. And then you didn't get the best return. You didn't get multiple picks. You didn't get Austin Reeves, who's balling out of his mind right now and is available, to CP's point. No shade to Anthony Davis. When Anthony Davis is healthy, he's one of the best two-way players in the league. But the problem is he's never healthy. He's always in street clothes. And now you're going to have to try. Now the new GM, Michael Finley, and I'm forgetting who else is the co-GMs, they're going to have to be tasked with trying to move Anthony Davis, whose value is not nowhere as high as it was. It's a bad job all around. You got to blame the Mavericks as a whole. Yes, Nico's the scapegoat. Nico didn't do himself any favors, too, in how he dealt with the trade. The fact he had to try to explain this trade. You know how you know a trade is bad, CP? If you trade a generational talent, then you got to be like, yeah, well, we traded him because.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not good. And you made great points, too. Fumbled Jaylen Brunson. Absolutely fumbled Jaylen Brunson. Think about this. The Mavericks could have had 2 of the 10 best players in the NBA, and they are not on their team right now.
Correct.
That is terrible.
Yo, it is insane, man. And then you have Dumont talking about, this was a mistake. So you got Anthony Davis and Max Christie over there going from L.A. to Dallas. The owner talking about we shouldn't have traded for these guys. So I'm sure they feel fantastic.
They feel great.
They feel fantastic. Listen, the owner is just as much as involved, just as Chuck said. But he's an owner, right? Like, he's not a basketball guy. He's probably clueless as to what is going on. It's the same situation when James Dolan had all these guys from Isaiah and all these guys coming in here, mortgaging the future, chasing stars, chasing this, and it just became a chaotic mess. Oh, some owners in sports are not that savvy in terms of evaluating talent. That is why you bring in the general manager. You bring in the people smarter than you that know the talent evaluation and how to build a team. That is Nico Harrison's part. And in his part, he made a suggestion that has literally torpedoed this team's future for some time.
I do want to say something because when you said that, it just popped up to me. Did you see those leaked comments that came out about Nico Harrison and Nikola Jokic?
No.
Oh man, this is gonna be great to see your reaction on this. So there's some leaked documents that came out, and I'm not sure what year it's from. This was by what's my guy who writes for DL. I can't remember who it's exactly from.
Yeah.
I'm reading this on Hoops Hype right now.
Okay.
This is via DLLS, and there's this document where Nico Harrison placed Drew Holiday, CP, on the same tier of talent as Nikola Jokic. Now, that made me, when you said the whole stuff about ego and all that, one, I don't think this is a good look that this came out now, and it's always interesting who leaks this and how this gets out. We know this. But that would make people question your competence as a general manager if you have Drew Holiday on the same level as Nikola Jokic. Now, if he made this, I don't know when this evaluation was made. If this was made in Nikola Jokic's rookie year, maybe I'll give it a pass. But if you made this evaluation anywhere in the last 5 years, it will be crazy, right? And it's like, if your talent evaluation was that also tells me, not to pile on Nico here, but like maybe you didn't realize the talent you needed to be getting back for a player like Luka Doncic. I bring that up for that. I saw this and I was just like, this is stunning that he would even have those two in the same tier. Yeah,
it is absolutely insane. Have you thought about it? Because now the question is, where do the Mavericks go from here? Obviously, trading AD, you have Cooper Flag there. It's time to destroy and rebuild. Have you thought about a team that would be wise enough, I say that sarcastically, to trade for Anthony Davis?
Yo, so I had Ethan Skolnick on with me last night. I was talking about Miami. And the thought around it was, well, and Zach Lowe talked about this on his podcast. The thought about it was like, okay, him and Bam have played together on the Olympic team. That guy, you could have a nice defensive front court. But Ethan Skolnick made the point that you were making earlier, which is, do you want to do that if you're Miami? Are you going to go in for a guy who can't, likely will not be available, is a nice way of putting it, right? Oftentimes in street clothes is what we're saying.
Yeah.
What's Anthony Davis's value right now in the league? I don't know. It's crazy because he's in his early 30s. He's still a really good two-way player when he's on the floor. We've seen that. But he's never on the floor.
Never on the floor. Never on the floor.
Where does Anthony Davis want it? Is Detroit? Would Detroit want it to take a swing and try to pair him with Cade?
For Detroit, I've been saying they need to take a swing. Now, listen, they're playing very well right now.
They are
playing fantastic basketball, but I think they need to take a legit swing to not just be, an upstart or surprise team, but be a legitimate team. But this one has Sacramento Kings written all over it.
Yeah, but CP, you know who's going to be in all these rumors? You're right. Sacramento for AD, Sacramento for Ja Morant. But what's the value of those guys right now?
Yeah.
It's low.
Yeah.
And are any of them good? Now, poor AD, that man doesn't want to go to Sacramento, right?
No.
I'm sure Ja doesn't want to either. But what are their better options? I mean, I hadn't thought too much about AD. Chicago's another one you could think about. Maybe you can get some relief. They give you Vucevic.
Chicago would be good. Chicago would be worth a worthwhile.
Let's go back home.
Yeah,
I could see them getting back in there.
Yeah.
The way they're playing now into Billy Donovan. There's not that many teams, man.
And
we'll do it.
And this is why you're going to be looking at one of the worst returns ever for a franchise player. You're basically, because for the Mavs, you would have thought you would have had a couple first-round picks, 2 or 3, something to build with, some young talent. For Anthony Davis, with his contract, and his durability issues, that is going to be a tough deal to make. Now, speaking of tough deals to make, man, this one came across the wire yesterday, Dex. The chef, Steph Curry and Under Armour.
Yeah.
Calling it quits, man. This coming just a couple of years after, these two guys, these two entities had signed what appeared to be almost a lifetime deal between the chef and Under Armour. He had his Curry line, and throughout the course of the tenure, which is 17 years, which is crazy, but throughout the course of their relationship, he established the Curry brand, similar to Jordan Brand and Nike. Now they're splitting parting ways. What do you think about it?
I was shocked by it. I mean, he is the brand for them. This is gonna sound like I'm shading Under Armour. I'm not, but he's the reason people bought Under Armour shoes. If anybody had Under Armour shoe, kids were all in on the Currys. Curry's one of the most popular players of all time in the NBA. I'm not. This is a huge blow more for Under Armour, and what I'm very intrigued by is who does Curry sign here with in the twilight of his career? This feels like Nike's going to be all in on this to swoop in um, for him there. So it's shocking because you're that long. He's now in the twilight of his career. His popularity is not the height of what it was maybe 6-7 years ago, but he's still an all-time great player. And look, kids were buying those Currys. You know, the first couple of Currys that came out where Under Armour were very, very popular. And you know, Under Armour as a sneaker brand really helped get them in that competitive space. And we know Nike's far ahead of everybody, but like everybody's trying to like be at least number two. With Curry, they had a chance to do that. I don't know. I wonder how much it hurts their brand. I don't think when I say hurt, I don't think it hurts them from a standpoint that nobody will know who they are because they're still very popular in the football space. They're still very popular with you know, like their thermal gear and stuff like that. A lot of people will rock with that. But they had an iconic basketball player as part of one of the faces or the main face of their brand, if you want to say that. And losing that definitely hurts them. But yeah, it was shocking. I was shocked by it, especially the timing in his career. If this happened 5 years ago, I'd probably been less shocked.
Yeah.
But I think because where he is now in the age in his career is a little more shocking to me.
I think I'm less shocked now, just given the nature of athletes and their collaboration and even ownership interests with these sneaker brands. I am surprised just based on the fact that I mentioned they almost practically had a lifetime deal going.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was going to be pretty locked in. So while it's not really clear why they're splitting, I have to wonder were the shoes underperforming as of late. Is the basketball line as a whole underperforming? He has the Aaron Fox under his line and some NIL athletes as well. So have to wonder, you know, what was the spur here? Or was it just Steph saying, hey, we want to take Curry brand in a different direction. We want to be an independent entity. And we want to move that way. It's going to be interesting to see, right? Like, does he jump back in the Nike mix, or you know, does he just keep it going as a solo entity? You know.
Yeah.
But it's funny. We started the show off with Nico, and hey, Steph, Under Armour has to thank Nico for botching the Nike presentation to Stephen Curry many moons ago.
Damn, I forgot about that.
Which included them pronouncing his name wrong, and also.
Yo, I forgot about that, bro.
Leveraging an old presentation of Kevin Durant in which one of the slides was not removed in their presentation for Stephen Curry. So Nico, as Charles Barkley says, Nico's the greatest, right? Nico's just batting 1,000.
Nico's out here not paying attention to the details. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like consistently, and that's not a good look. Which it makes you. Do you think Nico gets another job?
No.
Yeah,
I think he's cooked. He's cooked.
I think so.
Maybe
cooked.
Maybe he goes back to the industry side or back to as a Nike exec. Maybe he goes to CAA or something like that. But in terms of team building, nah, that was career ending. He knew it.
Yeah, I agree.
That was career ending. But you know, on the sneaker front, I mean, you think about Jaylen Brown has his own line. Even Isaac Okoro's got his own shoe. You have Kyrie after he split with Nike. He linked up with Anta. He has some ownership interest there in those shoes. And so I think that could just be a little bit of the sign of the times and also speaks to why Nike is having so much trouble finding their footing in the game. Is because now guys have so many more options. And if they are interested in equity, they're getting it elsewhere. And they're having more collaborative input elsewhere. So, you know, you look at Cooper Flag with New Balance. Who would have saw that coming in the 90s? Like,
that's a good point, CP, that for these athletes now, which is great. And I think athletes are smarter and demanding more ownership of their brand and what they do and what they bring to the table more than ever. Athletes are demanding like, hey, where do I fit in part of this? And if they're not getting the equity that they think they deserve, or being, as you said, collaborative for that partnership, and this should be a note for everybody with all business, you should ask for that. Then they're going to be like, hey, we will take it elsewhere. And listen, the other brands that are not Nike are incentivized to want to be willing to be more collaborative because they're trying to get to where Nike is. So it's a very interesting time for Nike because they're going to have to change their game. Yeah, they've been a long time the dopest sneaker brand out there, but if you're not really for the players are going to say, all right, I'm going to take what I'm doing and try to make this brand cooler or whatever you want to call it. So that is a very interesting point. And I wonder how much of that is, as you said, sign of the times, and just everything is always changing. And just like any business or brand, you have to evolve with things. If you don't, you're going to get left behind.
You're going to get left behind, man. So we'll see what happens with the Chef and Curry brand and what the future holds for these guys, man. So,
yeah.
There it is. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out my guy Will Latimer checking in. Early morning content, he says. Hit that like button for your boy. We got Fabian Aramaris in here. Rod Jones says Curry should join Clutch. Okay, so he's saying he should join up with Rich Paul and Bron and those guys. Shout out to Aline Joe. Daniel Bosajor, salute to you. Zach checking in from L.A., Wise guys, salute TM in the chat. J Rose, I see you in here as well, man. Salute to you guys. Salute. All right, Dex. All-Star game changes once. Once again, All-Star game changes. Let's talk about it. So last year we went to the 2 NBA teams and for 3 NBA teams rather, and then for some reason they threw in the Rising Stars. That rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Now they're going with 3 teams, 2 U.S. and 1 World, 4 games of 12 minutes each, and it's round robin. Each team plays the other 2. The championship, the top 2 from round robin meet in game 4, and it's supposed to be 24 players, 12 from each conference, but they want 16 Americans and then a team of 8 international players. Now, the question is, what happens if those 24 players don't evenly break out into 16 and 8? Then Commissioner Silver will name extra players to the roster to get the minimum 16-8 ratio. Your thoughts there, Dex?
CP, did you have any fun at all explaining all of that to me?
Zero.
Did you enjoy that at all?
Zero.
No. Zero. You had zero fun explaining it to me because it was too much. For an exhibition game. What are we doing? I'm going to have what is somewhat of, it might be an unpopular take for people here, but I've been on this for a couple of years. We don't have to try to fix the All-Star game. It's okay. We've had All-Star games that used to mean something a lot at one time. Now they don't as much anymore. And there's a lot of reasons to why that. It's not people. I hate when people get on the play. Oh, the players don't care. They don't want it to be competitive, blah, blah, blah. It's an All-Star game. I don't need it to be competitive. To be quite honest, I don't need it. When I was younger, I loved watching the All-Star game. And there's a lot of reasons why. Grew up in the 90s. Sometimes it's the only time, the limited times you got to see these players get together, play on these teams. Some guys on the West Coast. At one point in my life growing up, didn't have cable, so I wasn't getting to see. I didn't have no league. There was no league pass. There was no YouTube, so you didn't get to see the guys. Now we see players more through YouTube, league pass, all this other social media. So it's not the same. Things have changed, but we're trying to keep things the same with the All-Star game. And why are we doing this? Other leagues have done this and have realized the All-Star game doesn't matter. Yeah. The NFL, Pro Bowl, they play a flag football game. Now, I understand basketball is not a sport in which you could have it where you don't take the game seriously. That's no shade to the NFL, but the NFL was like, hey, man, it doesn't matter. Y'all still going to be here anyway. The NHL, they've gone to their little skills. They have their little 3-on-3 stuff. Nobody ever says, hey, the All-Star game is taken seriously. Baseball's interesting in that some people still take that game seriously. Yeah. I don't think the players do as much anymore there, too.
I thought this one was good. This past All-Star game was good.
This past All-Star game, I do agree it was good. I'll be honest, I don't tune in as much anymore as I used to in all these All-Star games. I don't care as much anymore as I used to. But I'm going to say this. Last year was terrible. Last year was terrible in the NBA. I remember I was coming back from a trip from D.C. I turned it on. I was like, what is this? What are we doing here? This, to me, here's what I will say about this. Just do USA versus the world. Just do 12 American players. I mean, I do think the All-Star game should be 15, but that's a whole other thing. Yeah. Do your 12 American players, 12 international players, and call it that. These 4 different teams, the round doing too much. Doing way too much. And then what happens if you don't have it? Adam Silver's got to get him. It's too much. And CP, I just really feel like we don't have to care about the All-Star game as this way anymore. I've said the same thing about the dunk contest. Sometime, hey man, we had a good run. And sometimes things are over.
Yeah.
And we have to evolve. The 3-point shootout is now taking over as the main attraction.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to get rid of the All-Star game fully, although I wouldn't be sad if it went. You could just have the All-Star nominations. I understand what it is for the league. It is a great time for everyone in the league, including corporate sponsors. This is what people need to understand, to come together, convene, talk, work out new deals. It is all about promoting the league. And I understand that. So you still got to have the weekend and all that stuff. But do we need a competitive All-Star game?
I would like to see it, man. I would like to see it.
You want to see it?
Absolutely. But I think just this generation is just different. And we're in a different time of the league. It's evolved.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
To where, as you said, it's become less about the talent on the court and going at each other east-west, and more about the weekend, the marketing dollars, the collaborations, the activations. It's become more about, as you said, showcasing the league, which the league does at different points.
And CP, there's too much money involved, and these players know this too. You just talked about that and made up a brilliant point about with the sneakers and owning your brand. The players know this too, so they're not trying to risk anything and get hurt. And the teams are too invested with these guys. God forbid somebody tears their Achilles in an All-Star game, then we're gonna be like, man,
right?
And let it be to start playing your team and it cost them the season. Then I want to see all the people that. Again, would I like to see competition? Of course I would. I want to see the best go against the best. But I understand the way things are, it ain't going to happen in this generation. So some people are going to say, what about a one-on-one tournament? We saw this work with Unrivaled last year with the ladies. I thought it was dope. Would I love to see a one-on-one tournament in the NBA? Hey, guys go one-on-one, play to 5. I think it'd be dope. Now, here's my other thing. This ties into what you say. I don't know if all the players are going to be bought into it, because I think another thing in this social media era is nobody wants to get embarrassed.
Nobody wants to get cooked.
Everybody shook. Everybody shook, right? Nobody wants to get cooked.
Nobody
right,
wants to get cooked.
And it bothers me. It's like, yo, have some pride. Put your stuff out there on the line. If you don't want to go hard full court, but for one-on-one, play to 5. Let's see who's king of the court. I think fans will get behind that.
I really do. For it. Been calling for it, man.
And it's to me the best compromise that gives you competition, but you don't have to go as hard. Now, can you tear your Achilles playing one-on-one? Sure. It can happen. It can happen too. But it's a little low stress. You can do it. But the reason I don't think it's going to happen is guys are just too much pride, man.
Too much pride.
They're not where the W players are. The W players where they are right now, and they're trying to get their bag.
Yeah. It's like the college athlete.
Right. These guys have too much pride. It's the same thing with the dunk contest. The reason no stars do it is nobody wants to get embarrassed. We've probably seen every dunk that's possible, but nobody else wants to get embarrassed. That part bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, come on, have some pride and go out there and at least play for a one-on-one competition.
That part is bothersome, and as you said, I think the competitive energy is just gone. I just don't think this generation of athlete has it. It's why I miss, those interviews with Magic and Michael, and they talking, man, like, yo, I used to want to kill this guy. I used to want to go at this guy. There was I saw this clip somewhere last night. It maybe through a game or something, maybe on IG, and it was Magic, and he was talking about the fact that he's covering the 92 NBA Finals for NBC. It's Bulls versus Blazers, and he's at MJ's crib the night before, and MJ's talking to him about how everybody's hyping up Drexler. And Magic tells a story. It's how MJ was like, yo, listen, watch what I do to this guy tomorrow. It's like that type of fire. We just don't really have that. We don't hear that with this younger generation. And so I think that is missing from the All-Star game. But in regards to the format, the way that they're chopping things up, the reason I hated it so much last year was perfect example. You have Jaylen Brunson, who starting point guard of the East All-Stars, first time of his career, and because they chop up the format into this round-robin thing, he literally played 8 minutes in the All-Star game, which is all right, for his side, okay, you get the rest and all of that, but it's like, for the fan who spent all the time, you want us to vote triple value today, double value today, all of that. We voting for a guy. He's starting point guard of the East, and he gets in and he plays 8 minutes because his team lost the first game.
Right, which then shows you like it becomes more about the honor of being named the All-Star, but there's nothing to the All-Star team. And maybe I got to talk to some even if the younger fans are in the chat, let me know. Like if you're 30 and below, I'm very curious as to how you feel about the All-Star game. And like, do you want to see these guys play? Does it need to be competitive? Here's something I hate that they got rid of. I love the Elam ending. I thought that was great when they added that. I love that. I was like, okay,
I like that.
You got the target score. I kind of liked it because at least it made it was like, hey, I know for the first 3 quarters they're going to be throwing oops, shooting threes. But the last quarter, dudes are going to try to win. And I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. Like that to me was like what the All-Star game should be. Just give me the last quarter is competitive. And I'm fine with that. But there's a lot we're talking about a lot, and I understand we're in our 40s and but I understand it's not the same era. I'm the person that will say that. I'm not saying it's got to be like it was in the 90s I'm not that guy. But at the same time, I still would like to see guys have a little bit more competitive edge. But where this starts from, and goes back to my roots of sports journalism, it's a lot in high school basketball. The way high school basketball's gone with the AAU circuit and everybody just jumping teams and doing that, I think that is blended over into college and then to the NBA where it's like everybody's just cool. I just want to jump on this team. It's not. Also, I just want to see some rivalry. It's okay to not like some people sometimes, man. Like it's okay. It's cool. It's okay.
It's totally cool. So we'll see how it fares. Obviously, I'll be tapped in just as I have previous 40 years.
You don't have to tap in, CP. You don't have to.
I'm hooked. I'm hooked, man. It's an obligation. I have to tap into the All-Star game every year, man. It's just part of the deal as being a fan of the game. But I mentioned Jaylen Brunson. Speaking of Captain Clutch for the New York Knicks, Dex, we'll close with this one. Grade 1 ankle sprain. Grade 1 ankle sprain. Suffered the injury stepping on Wendell Carter's foot in the Knicks' loss to the Orlando Magic. Some say that the recovery time could be a week. Some say it could be up to 3 weeks. What do you think about the news, and what do you think the Knicks do going forward?
If you're a Knicks fan, you had to be breathing a sigh of relief because I was at the game, left on Wednesday night. As soon as I left, Stephen Bondy, James Edwards, all the reporters were tweeting out, hey, he was outside the locker room because I didn't go to the locker room that night. Outside the locker room, crutches and a walking boot. And I was like, oh, man, this doesn't sound good at all whatsoever. To find out it's just a grade 1 ankle sprain, if 1 to 3 weeks, okay. If it takes him a month to come back, I think the Knicks, all depends. Like, people heal differently. It takes him a month to come back, CP. I think you got to be fine with that as a Knicks fan. I think it'll be interesting. I think there's value sometimes when teams learn to play without their stars. I think there's value in that. You don't want to be too long, but there could be something. Now, what do they do starting at point guard? I think it'll be very interesting tonight to see what Mike Brown does against the Heat. I think he probably will start Tyler Kolek. That doesn't mean Tyler Kolek is going to play starters minutes. I think you could see him play 15 minutes. Here's the thing with Tyler Kolek. He's got to defend. If he's a traffic cone out there and teams are just picking on him, which they will, in pick and roll situations, then he's not going to play. If Mike Brown opts for better defense, he'll start Deuce. But the way Mike Brown has handled his rotations tells me he likes to try to keep things somewhat in order. This is why we've seen Shamet start when Mitch doesn't start. This is why I think he'll probably go with Kolek. But this is a great opportunity for Kolek. Kolek's got to take this opportunity to show at a minimum I can be a backup point guard in this team. I've been questioning this from the time Malcolm Brogdon retired. And you and I talked about it when you came up for the season preview. It's like, okay, who's going to be this backup point guard? Who's going to emerge? What happens if Jaylen Brunson goes down? Well, now we're going to get the answer to this question. I think the Knicks are talented enough to survive and go to be well through the stretch that they have upcoming in the next 2 to 3 weeks without Jaylen Brunson. But it could get rough if someone like Tyler Kolek doesn't fend or Jordan Clarkson is not as good of a playmaker as you think. I'm intrigued. Who do you think they should start at point guard? What would you do?
I definitely hear the logic behind Kolek based on Mike Brown's previous decision making and trying to keep certain guys in a rhythm. I believe that their defense needs to set a tone. It's slacked a little bit last couple of games, and having Deuce out there with Mitch, with OG and McCall to really shore things up defensively. I think that'll help get them in a rhythm where, just like you said, yes, there are benefits to not having Jaylen out there, and maybe offensively we'll see that. We'll see some guys get unlocked and see guys get unleashed a little bit. Even Deuce, the past couple of games, Deuce has been kind of rocky on the offensive side. So I think getting in there, you're playing Miami, you got to cool down Norman Powell immediately. They've got Jaquez going, Jovic and all these guys. I'd save Wingstop for those guys. Let Deuce get on Norman Powell, harass him a bit. You're playing them on Friday, playing them on Monday, and then you got to go see Orlando. I'm not sure if that, especially Orlando, that physical style of defense, that press coverage, I don't know if Tyler's going to how he'll fare there. He didn't play too well in the game against Miami in the first game that they played early in the season. So me personally, I'd like to see Deuce McBride in there to just set a good tone defensively and help in the event where the offense may get bogged down in a half court. At least you're out there with Deuce. You can get after it in the passing lanes, maybe create some turnovers, get into a rhythm, get some momentum and some confidence on the offensive side.
Yeah, here's the thing. Tyler Kolek's going to play some minutes. And whether he starts, whether he's off the bench, he's going to have to show that he can defend, because I just think this is a big opportunity for him. And it's a great time for the Knicks to look at this and evaluate. Because if they look at him and they say, can't play him, we've seen enough, they're going to have to think about, trade. I was against doing it at the beginning of the season. I've talked about this, but I think you may have to look at it if he can't do it. But this is what you want. You want the chance to look at players to see what they're made of. And, we'll find out what he's made of and how he's improved defensively. I hear your point about Deuce and setting the tone. I do agree with you. They've slipped defensively. Mike Brown talked about it after the last game against Orlando. They slipped with their aggression on the offensive boards. He wants to see that. Miami's been playing well. No Bam, no Tyler Hero, but they have been playing well. Norman Powell, you're right. We'll see what they do tonight. But if you're a Knicks fan, I just think you got to be happy with this. Grade 1 sprains, anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks it could take. I think the Knicks will be very cautious with this. They're saying day to day. I at least would expect them to be out at least a week. It wouldn't be shocking me if it was 2. But, again, you never know. It all depends on how people heal. But I think the Knicks are going to be very cautious with this, as they should, because the goal is to have your team healthy and right by the end of the season. That is the goal. Yeah, and look, man, run some clock when it comes to Jaylen. Run some clock. So if it takes 3 weeks, let him take 3-4 weeks. We got to run some clock. I'm fine with that. And get to April and make sure that he gets there okay, because clearly the ankles are a little bit delicate and it could be an issue going forward. This is the same ankle that he twisted against the Lakers last year. But if you take a look at their schedule coming up over the next even month or so, it's not bad. It really doesn't start getting real for them until about after the NBA Cup. So, I mean, if you look between now and, say, December 18th, I mean, you got Milwaukee in there, you got Boston in there, and Orlando. You got Orlando twice in that sequence, and you have the 2 against Miami on Friday, Monday. Other than that, all winnable games, man. At Dallas, at Brooklyn, at Charlotte, versus Toronto, versus Charlotte, versus Utah. Like, those are all winnable games for the Knicks, even without Jaylen Brunson. And, again, things start to get real after, like, the second part of December, after the NBA Cup, and then into the new year. That's when the second week of January is when they hit their first West Coast trip, so on and so forth. So I think this is the best news that you could ask for by the Knicks and Jaylen Brunson. Next man up. We'll see how they adjust and keep it pushing, man. See if they get one tonight in an NBA Cup matchup against the Miami Heat. Yep. We will see. We shall see, man. But great show, Dex. And we up on the hour. We didn't get to talk on the champs, OKC, but we will get to that next week, man. But, hey, they are rolling and looking very dominant without Jalen Williams, which is kind of scary. Which is scary. Scary right now. So, Thunder are coasting. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Remember, this show is available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it. Salute to the replay gang. Those of you that watch us on Knicks Fan TV, we will be live on KFTV at 1 o'clock. And then we will be covering the Knicks versus Heat NBA Cup matchup tonight, play-by-play, post-game live. And the KFTV watch party, Clinton Hall 36. 16 West 36th Street in New York City, so you can meet us there to watch the game with the KFTV squad, man. Dex, let the people know what you got on deck, man. Yeah, got some more good stuff coming up on deck with New York Got Game. A lot of good Knicks content. Hopefully, a good national guest hopefully coming up next week. We got a live watch party for the Dallas game coming up next week. And then another, fun show with my guy Brian Fonseca. So some good stuff coming up. CP, I hope to see you tonight at Clinton Hall. I'm gonna try to come through. Yeah, we'll see. Got some more good stuff coming up at NewYorkPost.com. New York Post Sports YouTube channel. Hit that like, subscribe button, and also hit that like and subscribe button for my guy CP here with the NBA Report, of course.
There we go, man. We'll see you guys later on, man.